They'd finished the building, they were taking their first service, which would have been a breaking the bread service in the morning. And the man next door came and knocked on the door and said, we're at war with Germany. That was the first day of the services in the church. Yeah, so a lot of the husbands had to go and do war service. My dad was up in Scotland as a Navy person. Other people were sent away in the army. Some went to France. But then, on the other hand, the army were in Aldershot doing training, and we had lots of soldiers coming to church, which we always took some of them home for dinner.
There were so many soldiers in Aldershot at the time, when I was young, that there were army scripture readers who were sort of a bit like chaplains, evangelists amongst the soldiers. And when an army scripture reader was posted to Aldershot, they often came to our church, Park Church, and I've got a memory of quite a lot of them just standing up, and they all seemed to have a big floppy Bible, soft covers, but a great big Bible that they had to hold with two hands, and it sort of curled downwards with the red edges as these scripture readers spoke. So I don't know why that sticks in my memory, but somehow army scripture readers and big floppy Bibles are one of my early memories here.
My real thankfulness is the way in which Park Church reached out to me, living 2 miles away, and set up a Sunday school on the grass outside our council flat. Jeff Johnson came Sunday afternoon, 3 o'clock, on his cycle with his fiancée, and just started a Sunday school. I got a picture with 20 kids there in 1958, sitting on the grass round Jeff. I'm so thankful for that.
Well, when I first started Sunday school, we were in the actual park school, because I think there were so many children that came to Sunday school then that the ones in the hall filled it up, and we were always taught in little groups. And so that's my early ones of going back to school, well, getting into the school before I'd even started school. And we had lots of courses, lots of fun and laughter, and the main thing of Sunday school was all about the Bible. And that has always been the thing that has overruled everything in our lives, really.
Well, because I was taken to Sunday school there by a couple of friends, and the Sunday school teachers were so good and helped you and friendly, and I suppose they told me things that I wanted to know, and I won't say that's when I became a Christian at Sunday school, but a little bit later on. And then when we got to about 15 or 16, we were expected to take a Sunday school class, and so that's how I landed up taking a Sunday school class. And Pete Sullivan's mum was instrumental in that. I won't say I never forgive her, I really know she's lovely. Yes, she got me on that, and she got me on all the camping and things like that.
We were all sat round in classes, and we used to sing "I Met Jesus at the Crossroads, where the two roads meet," etc. And that's really fixed in my mind as an early memory.
In June 1966, there was Billy Graham came for a month in Earl's Court, and Jack was the one who went round to people and said, you know, how about a trip that night? We'll get someone to drive a car full or a minibus full. And so I went up one night and went forward. Became a Christian, talked to the counsellor who shared with me what was a good thing to do. It was just not a sort of huge, great experience. It was just knowing God was there, and the one who I could talk to, and the one who loved me and changed my life.
Back in when the park community started, they started in the church hall on Lower Farnham Road, and their heart was for the Aldershot estate, which essentially was on the other side of the road, but there wasn't a building that they could use on the other side of the road, so they built the one that they built on Lower Farnham Road. But their heart was always for the community that lived on the other side of the road, which is the Tices Meadow community. So they have prayed for, sown into and done ministry for that community since they very first started.
Well, it starts off with the parents outside because we had coffee and cake to give to the parents while they were waiting for the children, and the kids had the cakes as well. And then they came in and had more refreshments because that's the way to children's stomachs, isn't it? And then we'd have a fun time with activities and all sorts of games, and the parents would come in and talk as well. Some would stay and some would go home. So, and then a Bible story at the end, which was great. And we still see lots of these parents around who want to chat.
The basis of mission interest goes back, right back to the beginning of our lives, and we were always having missionaries coming to speak. We had a missionary conference once a year, every May, and several missionaries who were back in this country would come along and talk about their work. We would have mission prayer times probably every month, and it was a very mission-focused church.
It conveyed the knowledge of the worldwide family of Christ to the people in the church, because we had visitors who would come who had served overseas and were still serving, and they'd share what was happening in Africa, Indonesia, whatever, and this gave that perspective to the church, and that was very much my perspective, having travelled to those places and worked there for a time.
In those early days, there was no musical instruments in the morning, but John Ayres was part of a sort of renaissance in the church where we moved away from the Brethren movement and we became more liberal, if you like, and certainly that happened in the musical scheme of things. John, I told John I played guitar. I was playing in Sunday school at Webbing at the time, and John encouraged me to play in the evening service, very, very nervously. First person to play guitar in the church. But then he introduced other instruments, discovered other talents, violin, cello, flute, clarinet, and gradually the music evolved. We moved away from the old Brethren songs and choruses. We discovered mission praise, which became a source of worship songs. We discovered Graham Kendrick, and the musical side progressed for me in a direction that I thought God was present in, and which really encouraged me.
At the time when I first started, I was a member of the Aldershot Brass Band, and when John Ayres realised I played euphonium, he said, would I like to play at the church evenings? It was evening service in those days. I said, I was a bit, playing now. I said, yeah, I'll have one or two. And then he installed so much confidence in me that I never had. And in the end, I've written a march for the Camberley Band, I've written a tune for the church, I've written an arrangement for the band which we played, Stop the Cavalry. And I say that the help that he's given me, I never had that confidence, but now.
We'd been part of another church and we hadn't been going for a while after we'd left that church, and it was just over the road from the church, this church building, and one morning, Sunday morning, Joe, my husband, said, there's a church over the road, let's go there. So we did, and it was brilliant. And even though my son would, at the end of the service, would literally run round at 100 miles an hour, everybody just thought he was cute and lovely and not annoying. And so for me, that was just such a massive welcome and important part of being embraced into the community.
We've had such fun. We've I've been a tap dancing angel, I've jumped out of a present in a tutu, and we've done puppets and become all sorts of people and things.
Billy and Jenny, 10-year-olds.
Birds.
Birds, yeah.
And I think we've flown to space.
Absolutely.
We've aged decades in one production. The best, though, I think ever, Simon, was a turkey being prepared for Christmas. And I believe that we actually turned somebody into a vegetarian.
It was my highlight.
Which wasn't perhaps the conversion we were looking for on the day, but we'll take it.
In Sunday afternoon, we would have sports day. We'd get them to play football or play crocker. The youngsters loved the freedom of it. Now, what happened was these youngsters went back home to real die-hard, dare I say it, brethren people. They started to discover that on Sunday afternoon they didn't go to church. They were playing games at camp, and so we started to have some complaints that what are you teaching your young people on a Sunday afternoon at camp to play games when you're supposed to be at a Christian camp?
Some of the things we did with the youth group were quite interesting. We filmed our own soap opera, and one of our guys was a video camera, so he videoed it all and edited it and so on. So
I think that God has always provided the right person at the right time, when a change has maybe been the right time to happen. We had Andrew Campbell and his wife come to join the church just when we needed to change perhaps to a family service, more style format. And he was strong and he led us. That's one example. And I think every time that change has been needed, the right person has come along and seen us through.
And I think that significance came about with the introduction of all-age worship. That was probably the most significant thing. That some would argue that maybe abandoning a traditional Sunday morning service for an all-age worship that included everybody, literally everybody, was such a radical change in direction for the church, and I think that was quite significant.
I just looked out, as a matter of fact, this morning, a bit of paper, which is a estate agent's brochure on this place. From 1993, the brochure was offering this place for sale. At that time, Park Church was using it, kind of renting it as a building, because we'd outgrown the hall in Lower Farnham Road. So we were coming here anyway every Sunday, and half filling it or so. The Catholic Church had rented it to us. They then decided, after we'd been here, a few years, that they wanted to sell it because they weren't using it. So it was put up for sale through an ordinary estate agent, and I think they asked for offers in the region of £140,000. Add to that the estate agent's fees and all the other bits and pieces you pay. We needed £144,000. So we said, can we do this? Can we afford it? We've only got £12,000. Went to Nationwide Building Society, remember going there? They offered us £91,000 as a loan over 10 years, so long as we guaranteed it. That gave us a deficit still of about £40,000, sort of give or take 1,000. How are we going to raise that? Because part of that it needed to be the deposit to pay immediately anyway. So we prayed about it, came here as a church. One evening, put a box at the front on that table over there, and asked the people of the church, the congregation, those that were there and those that couldn't come along, how about giving towards this project, or offering a loan, an interest-free loan. And so people on that evening walked from their seat to put either money or a cheque or an offer of a loan into that box. And at the end of the evening, £40,000 was in there. Not too much, but not too little. What we'd asked for.
The way that different people have come at different times and have brought either experience or different understandings, different insights, and I think that's been a provision from God in the people that have come with the gifts that they bring.
The church developed, but like all churches, and they go through phases, this church declined in numbers because people moved away, and we needed more people in the church to fill this building. Churches need a core number of people to attract others. So we, once again, got to prayer and said to ourselves, we're going to pray every Sunday morning in that room there, which is now, I think, the prayer room, and we're going to pray specifically about how are we going to get families in. So we prayed about that. We prayed specifically about families, about young children, about husbands and wives coming to this church. Be careful what you pray for, because God suddenly put them here.
I think our hopes and prayers for the next chapter for the church is we continue to be bold and we continue to change when change is right. And that makes it exciting, an exciting journey.
For the next chapter, I hope we continue to listen to God. I hope we continue to step forward in His strength and that we are not fearful.
As we are now, that we carry on growing and that we get so big that we outgrow this building. And now to see the little ones running around, the noise, the excitement and the continuing growth of it is amazing.
I look to the future with real hope and with real joy that God is bringing up new generations to serve Him and to lead this church on. So it's here for another 100, 200 years, if God allows.
62 years I've been a member of Park Church, and I actually love it. We basically keep going as we are. Yeah, certainly. It's, to see it so full, it's fantastic. And the children, well, yeah, so keep going as we are, I think.
I think some of our prayers are already answered because you guys are all here and now we're all together, and we prayed for that for a long time. As I say, a lot of the things have already happened. We've seen the families, we've seen the children, and I just hope to stay involved, see it evolve, more people in through the door, more activities, getting out in the community, because I think that's where we're at. I think that's where we need to go.
I think consistent with the mission group vision. I love the welcome that is here from the church. I just long for the young and enthusiastic people we have in the church now to realise the part they have and the part they can play in the worldwide family of the church.
We're enjoying the wider community and having lots more people. Our son and daughter-in-law come to the church with their children, so having our extended family here has been really encouraging. And obviously, it would be lovely to see our grandchildren grow up and come to faith themselves. That's something of real hope.
And not just our grandkids,
not our
but
kids,
there's so
yeah.
many.
Yeah.
Absolutely gorgeous young people growing up in the church, and yeah, that's really exciting.
It'd be really nice if we had the closeness of Park Church, I think, in a bigger congregation.
Hopes and prayers for the future, that it keeps growing like it is, and just see the whole church family, right from littlies to older people, and that mix is really great. So yeah, I would love to see it grow, become even bigger.
I think I would have been a lost soul without Park Church. They've always rescued me when times have been tough, and there's been a lot, and those people have always been constant and stayed through my life. And of course people have come and gone for various reasons, but they've always been my go-to people, and like I said, they've sort of moulded me There's just something about those people that have just guided me, I think.